freedoms, guarantees, and misdeeds were all detailed in this document. The English Bill of Rights was an act signed into law in 1689 by William III and Mary II, who became co-rulers in England after the overthrow of King James II. The bill outlined specific constitutional and civil rights and ultimately gave Parliament power over the monarchy. Many experts regard the English Bill of Rights as the primary law that set the stage for a constitutional monarchy in England. It is also credited as being the inspiration for the United States Bill of Rights. Today we are discussing this Bill of Rights that was signed into power on this day, February 13th, 1689. We're going to discuss what was inside this Bill of Rights, what it entailed, and what its lasting legacy is. And that all began with the Glorious Revolution. The Glorious Revolution, which took place in England from 1688 to 1689, involved the ousting of King James II. Both political and religious motives sparked this revolution, and many English citizens were distrustful of the Catholic king and disapproved heavily of the monarchy's outright power. Tensions were high between Parliament and the king, likewise between Catholics and Protestants. James II was eventually replaced by his Protestant daughter, Mary, and her Dutch husband, William of Orange. The two leaders formed a joint monarchy and agreed to give Parliament more rights and power. Part of this settlement included signing the English Bill of Rights, which was formerly known as, quote, an act declaring the rights and liberties of the subject and settling the succession of the crown, end quote. Among its many provisions, the Bill of Rights condemned King James II for abusing his power, and declared that the monarchy could not rule without consent of the Parliament. So what's in this Bill of Rights? What does it actually say? Well, the English Bill of Rights includes the following items: a list of King James' misdeeds, calling him out for what they think he did wrong and why they ousted him, 13 articles that outlined specific freedoms that were to be guaranteed to the people, and confirmation that William and Mary were rightful successors to the throne of England. So in general, the Bill of Rights limited the power of the monarchy, elevated the status of Parliament, and outlined specific rights of the individual. Some of the key liberties and concepts laid out in this article included the following: freedom to elect members of Parliament without the King or Queen's interference, freedom of speech within Parliament, freedom from royal interference within law, freedom to petition the King, freedom to bear arms for self-defense, freedom from cruel and unusual punishment and excessive bail, freedom from taxation by royal prerogative without the agreement of Parliament, freedom of fines and forfeitures without a trial, and freedom from armies being raised during peacetime. You can see that this had a lasting effect already, as many of these ring quite familiar to many Americans' ears. Other important provisions were the Roman Catholics couldn't be king or queen. Parliament should be summoned frequently, and the succession of the throne would be passed to Mary's sister, Princess Anne of Denmark, and her heirs. Then to any heirs of William by a later marriage. So it's basically saying, as far as succession goes, no Catholics. We don't want them. You can't be on the throne. Parliament has to show up more frequent. We don't do it enough. We should get together more. And then lastly, only Mary's sister, Anne, and her heirs get to be heir of the throne. Kind of cut and dry, you can kind of see what they're going for there. And you can see how quickly, because of the heavily influence that Parliament was being given, we came to a constitutional monarchy. The English Bill of Rights created a constitutional monarchy in England, meaning the king or queen acts as head of state, but his or her powers are limited by law. Under this system, the monarchy couldn't rule without the consent of Parliament, and the people were given individual rights, which was kind of a new concept for the time. In the modern-day British constitutional monarchy, the king or queen plays a largely ceremonial role, and King Charles III today has actually very little authority when it comes to actual law dealing and law governing. An earlier historic document, the 1215 Magna Carta of England, is also credited with limiting the powers of the monarchy and is sometimes cited as a precursor to the English Bill of Rights. And that brings us to John Locke. Many historians also believe that the ideas of English philosopher John Locke greatly influenced the content of the Bill of Rights. Locke proposed that the role of the government is to protect its citizens' natural rights. The Bill of Rights was quickly followed by the 1689 Mutiny Act, which limited the maintenance of a standing army during peacetime to 1 year. In 1701, the English Bill of Rights was supplemented by England's Act of Settlement, which was essentially designed to further ensure Protestant succession to the throne. So, following Locke's influences and following this Bill of Rights, that brings us to one of the most important lasting effects that this English Bill of Rights had, and that would be the United States Bill of Rights. The English Bill of Rights encouraged a form of government where the rights and liberties of individuals were protected and held on a pedestal. These ideas and philosophies penetrated into the colonies of North America. Many of these themes and philosophies found in the English Bill of Rights served as inspirations for principles that were eventually included in the American Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the U.S. Constitution, and of course, the U.S. Bill of Rights. For example, the 1791 U.S. Bill of Rights guarantees freedom of speech, trial by jury, protection from cruel and unusual punishment, and the right to bear arms. So, you see how it's kind of like a Venn diagram. We have a lot of overlap coming from the English predecessor. So, what is the legacy of the English Bill of Rights? Well, the English Bill of Rights has had a long-lasting impact on the role of government in England. It's also influenced laws across the world, as well as documents and ideologies from the United States to Canada to Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, and many other countries. The Act limited the power of the monarchy, but it also bolstered the individual rights and liberties held by citizens. Without the English Bill of Rights, the role of the monarchy might be much different than it is today. We would have seen a lot longer of a lasting of a direct monarchy role. There's no question that this one act greatly affected not only English government and English history, but Western history and Western government, because we see a lot of these ideas, not only in the United States, but in the Western world. And that's very important for how the West runs today and modern day democracies in general. So that's why I decided to share this with you today, because I thought it would be important to share the signing of the English Bill of Rights, since it went into place on this day. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a little bit about the English Bill of Rights and its lasting effects and legacy on the United States and the world. So I hope you enjoyed that bit of English history. So I am Shieldbro6 for the History Armada. I hope you enjoyed your weekly dose of history today. If you did, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button for me. It helps me know what you're enjoying, and it helps me get my content out there. If you ever have a comment, suggestion, concern, anything at all, or perhaps I got something wrong, just leave that in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you because I do read all of your comments. If you ever like to support me further, simply look at the links in the description of the video and check that out. But that is it for me for today. As always, I am Shieldbro6 for the History Armada, and I will see you for your next weekly dose of history. Thank you for watching.